Was Nancy more present when you're talking to Reagan than Pat being present when you're talking to her?
Oh, yes.
I can see that.
Yes.
Did she give you vibes of a control freak or somebody that was just protective of her husband?
Both.
Give me examples of control freak.
Well, this is why people need to read my book. I called her the chief of staff when she joined the campaign, which was a positive thing because he trusted her. He trusted nobody more than he trusted Nancy Reagan. He called her mommy, and when I first joined the campaign, she wasn't on the plane. She was still in Los Angeles. And then she joined us a week later, and things were wobbly. But then she came on the plane, and it steadied him because he always he just needed her by his side. And but there was like an occasion I describe in the book where, for example, I was under great pressure to get this speech to him. We were on our way to Lima, Ohio, and it was a Lima or Lima. I can't remember how they pronounce it now. And we were doing a speech, and we're 45 minutes away, and we're under pressure, and the plane's on final approach, and we're trying to get the speech, and I'm under pressure trying to type it in the back, and we have to write it and put it on the half sheets to get to him. And she walks back to me and she says, "Ken, where's the speech?" "Ma'am, I'm working on it. We're trying to get it done." "Where's the speech?" And I say, I'm almost done. She says, "Ronnie is looking for the speech." So you get the feeling now.
Urgency. Let's go.
Yeah,
where is it at?
Yeah,
I need it.
Yeah, he needs it right away. And I get it, rip it out of the typewriter. The secretaries have to type it up. They have to put it on half sheets, get it up to him, take it up to him. So that's her role as being a control freak and being like in charge all at one time.
Was this a she thing, or was this him? Like, certain CEOs are afraid of firing people.
That's him asking her to do.
Oh, got it. So
he can't be confrontational.
I got it. So he was a guy that would avoid conflict. If he needed to fire somebody, he couldn't do it. Nancy, can you fire this person?
Exactly.
Interesting. So it's not her taking the initiative. He was relying on her and delegating to do the tough job.
Several times.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Oh, I did.
Do you ever have a moment where President Reagan gave you direct criticism one-on-one?
Yes.
When was that?
Once. It was it's a famous moment in the book, and that makes a very big difference in policy. And that's when it's prior to the first Geneva summit with Gorbachev. And he brought me in. I was back in California, but he's going to prepare a speech before the General Assembly to the United Nations in the fall of 1985.
Mm-hmm.
And I get called in I think the speech is in October of 1985, September, October of 1985. And the basic speech is written by his speechwriting staff, and I get called in because they want me to shape it up and put it in his words and make sure it's edited properly. So I get called in from California, and I have 2 meetings with him. And I'm assuming it's the initial speech is written by Ben Elliott, the head of the current speechwriting staff, and it's pretty tough anti-communist speech. And I'm assuming he still wants it to be a pretty tough anti-communist speech because this is Ronald Reagan. So I edit the speech and work it out, and I make it the tone just pretty much the way it's supposed to be. And I finalize it, get the final edits in, have my secretaries ship it in to him the night before, And then we have a meeting. I don't think you have. I don't know if you have the picture of it. It's a picture of us sitting around in the Oval Office. I'm sitting right next to him in the Oval Office, and there's several of us in the meeting. It's in the Oval. Anyway, there's me next to him, and there's Pat Buchanan, Don Reagan, John Poindexter, and Bud McFarlane. And so I sit down. I think I'm going to get a pat on the back for doing a nice speech for Reagan. First thing he does is he says, well, Ken, if we're going to have a different relationship with Gorbachev, we can't be using this harsh rhetoric regarding the Soviet Union. And I go, whoa, where'd this come from? All of a sudden, Reagan's going soft on communism. And I'm getting spanked in front of all these other guys. And it's really, I mean, my feelings are getting hurt. And I think I'm getting sabotaged by somebody in the White House. And then he starts going on and on about he doesn't like the language, it's too tough, and it just doesn't sound like him at all. And so he wants it changed. This is, the meeting is around 10 o'clock or whatever it is, somewhere around there. I've got a flight going back to California at 5. So now I've got just about 4 hours to re-edit this whole speech and change the language. And all this time, I thought I'm being sabotaged. Well, it turns out that this is a whole change in philosophy, that he wants a different approach.
Strategy?
Yeah.
Different strategy?
Strategy approach to Gorbachev before the summit. Now, I write a whole chapter on this because I found out years later, talking to Bud McFarlane, that the influence on him was from Lady Thatcher, who told him he needs to have a different view towards Gorbachev. And then Nancy, Mrs. Reagan, wanted him to soften up. Anyway, that's when I got. That's a long way of telling you that you asked me if I ever got negative vibes from him. That's when I got.
Aside from that?
No, aside from that.
You ever saw him lose his cool?
Yes. Not badly, but just he was angry. He got angry about in private when he felt that he was. This is again towards the end of his administration, and complained about not angry in the sense of his voice rising or anything else, but he was angry about how he got taken by his staff on raising taxes in 1982. That bothered him.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
Because he was lied to by his staff, and his staff manipulated him.
Who? When you say staff, is there a name or two?
Well, there are several of them. Richard Darman, Jim Baker.
David
Gergen, they all worked together.
And they lied to
David Stockman. Well, they manipulated him in ways that they wanted him to go. Let's put it that way.
One of the best decisions I ever made in my life was joining the U.S. Army. When I served the 101st Airborne Division Air Assault, the level of pride of America being the greatest country in the world went to the roof. If you are a veteran, or if you support veterans, you have family members, Veterans Day, we have brand spanking new gear for you to choose from. A whole plethora of options of what to choose from, with shirts that say we support armed veterans, I am an armed veteran, dog tags, shirts, hats, all of the different gears that we have. And for the first 250 people that place an order, you have the option of 12 to 15 brand spanking new mugs that we have. One says Angry Patriot, another one says BizDoc, another one has got the U.S. flag, another one has PBD Podcast or Valuetainment or A Future Looks Bright. Go to vtmerch.com, place your order for Veterans Day. These things are going to go very quickly, and you'll get a custom mug that'll be sent your way.